Patient and overcome them as you go along. Patience is a virtue with this. I do have another car which is worth doing, but this takes up so much of my time that I couldn't allocate enough time to the other car. So this is it. Well, it's an ongoing thing. There's always fine detail to work on, so it does warrant a lot of time. Probably 18 years so far. I'm always finding something to do to it. And my advice for anyone doing a restoration, especially on a specialist car like this, is to think very carefully about what they're taking on, and certainly making sure they've got a fixed program to work to.
As you can see, we're just at the point of getting the cylinder head off. Lee, who's in charge of all the engineering here in the workshop, is helping get it off. It's been a bit of a struggle, but it's nearly there, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, nearly.
All right. Do you want a bit of leverage on this side? Yes! Fantastic. Superb. So Lee, what's your verdict on this, mate?
Well, it seems in quite good condition. There's not much corrosion in the waterways. It's obviously had antifreeze in it most of its life. These tend to open right out, and then you get bridging into the head gasket.
Right.
To the combustion chamber.
What about the state of the valves?
Without taking them out, it's hard to judge because you get stem wear and you can't really see the seat there. You'd have to take those out, but it all looks pretty good. There's not much of a carbon build-up. The block looks pretty good. You can see the cross-hatching of the honing when that's done.
What does that mean then?
That's been honed, it's honed to size. It's like a rebore, but it's a finer
right.
finish. It's what should be done after a rebore.
Right, so it probably has been rebored.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Very recently, because you can still see all the marks.
Right, okay. It was fairly unique, this engine. When it was designed, the original ones were designed in 1943, and they started with X being for experimental, and they started with an XF engine, which was a 1400, then they ended up with an XG, which was a 2 litre, ultimately the XJ, and then the XK, which is what this is derived from. But the original ones that went in the first E-types were the 3.8 litres, but they had to make the bores bigger on these, obviously, to make it a 4.2 litre, but it had the most perfect balance, didn't it, between performance and fuel consumption, which was a real surprise to everybody who tested these when they first drove them. Top engine. So we've got to do much to this or not? Clean up?
Just a clean up, I think.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So last thing we want to have a look at is the crank and get the sump off, yeah? So we put it on its side?
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Good.
Quite clean in there, which is a good sign.
Okay. So that's a main bearing cap coming off then?
Yeah, it's a main cap.
Right. Oh, it's beautifully machined, isn't it?
There's a little bit of discoloration in the bearings, but...
Right, these are shells, these?
Yeah, these are the shell bearings.
Right. And does that matter, or would we just replace those, or...?
I think probably replace them as it's out. So nothing needs doing to the crank, so maybe just put a new set of shells in there.
Okay, excellent. The verdict is we've got a pretty solid engine here. There's no reason this shouldn't run brilliantly.
No, it looks pretty good. The oil's clean. You can see it's not black.
Yeah.
So it's been well looked after.
Which is good news, given the state of the bodywork. It's very good news indeed. So that's it for part one. In part two, I'll be cleaning this up, putting it all back together again. See you later. Welcome back to A Car Is Reborn. I'm rebuilding the 4.2 litre engine from my Series 1 E-Type Jaguar Roadster. And at the moment, the job in hand is cleaning all the grot off the carburettors, which is a very laborious job, so any excuse to stop, and I will. Now, let me tell you, the engine has changed. Got a lot to talk to you about. A bit of a disaster on the old bearing shells front. We're a bit worried by the first shell we took out, which is the main bearing shell, expecting to find some wear on them, but found these little marks on some of them, which was a bit disturbing. Took some of the others out and things got decidedly dodgy. These are really, really damaged and in a bit of a bad state. We think from lack of use, where the oil has just been sitting in there and basically eaten into the surface of the shell. So all those needed changing. All that's been changed now. The sump is back on. Took the baffle plate out of the sump and cleaned all the sludge out from underneath. So that's all sorted and finished. The block itself was basically filthy, but in good condition. Inside here, the cylinders, no gouges, no grooves, absolutely perfect. The pistons themselves are standard pistons. They've got STD written on them, which means it is 4.2 litre, which is as it would have been when it came out of the factory. The surface of the block here, where the cylinder head's going to sit on top of, is fine, no worries at all. It was filthy, so I've cleaned and cleaned and cleaned this up. Absolutely laborious job, but it is worth it. And I've painted it in 2-pack black, which was the original colour when it came out of the factory, and it looks the business now. And we've also refaced the flywheel. That's back on. So the next job is putting on the cylinder head. Now, I'm really pleased with this cylinder head because it looks really fantastic now. A couple of things though that we found that were very, very interesting was where the water channels are here. There'd been a lot of welding to build up where, because obviously the engine hadn't had antifreeze in the water running through, the corrosion through the aluminium was pretty intense, and quite big areas have been filled in by TIG welding. In a couple of places we've actually had to grind that away because the aperture in the water channel was getting quite narrow, which could have ended up with overheating problems, but that's all been sorted out. It's beautifully smooth, beautifully clean, sprayed it up gold, again the original colour that it would have come out of the factory. I've also replaced all the studs for the manifolds on both sides. Got 2 more studs to put in, and then I can actually fit the cylinder head to the block. Now, I don't wish to be an anorak about this, but one of the key features in terms of design of this engine are these hemispheres here in the cylinder head, and also that the valves are inclined, because that's a key feature to giving this engine so much power. And at 5,400 revs, this engine generates 255 brake horsepower, which feels pretty mean when you've got your foot on the accelerator pedal. Anyway, enough of that. One degreased cylinder head, the block's degreased, now the gasket. Tell you what, this stuff smells, this jointing compound smells exactly like the oil that you put on horse tack. It smells just like my wife's horse before I ride her. That's the horse, not my wife, by the way.